Imagine being born into a world where money isn't just comfort, it's gravity. Every move you make, every dream you chase, already has billions behind it. You didn't earn it. You just arrived and the world watched. From the moment you take your first breath, your life is surrounded by private jets, custom tutors, and last names that open doors most people will never see. But here's the twist: having everything doesn't mean being free. Some heirs live like ghosts, trapped under family legacies built long before they were born. Others are quietly trying to rewrite what it means to inherit power in the 21st century. Because this new generation of heirs, from the children of Silicon Valley billionaires to Europe's old luxury dynasties, isn't content to just own the world. They want to change it. In this story, you'll uncover the unseen world where heirs are trained to protect family wealth like royalty, the secret heir schools that teach influence and discretion, and the shocking ways next-gen billionaires are reshaping business, art, and even space travel without anyone noticing. But the truth behind how they live and what they really feel might surprise you. Let me show you exactly how this happened. You're born into billions, but there's no instruction manual for that kind of life. Your childhood isn't normal. While most kids worry about grades, you're learning how to manage foundations, trust funds, and global attention. Your last name is both a crown and a curse. Across the US and Europe, thousands of next-gen heirs are quietly coming of age. Some belong to families we all recognize, like the Waltons of Walmart, whose combined wealth once reached over $250 billion. Others descend from fashion dynasties like the Arnauds, who control Louis Vuitton and Dior. Then there are the tech successors, children of Silicon Valley pioneers who grew up watching their parents build empires from screens and servers. But this isn't just about luxury. It's about pressure, the kind you can't buy your way out of. Because behind every billion-dollar smile, there's an unspoken rule: don't lose the legacy. In Europe, heirs to centuries-old families learn the 3 silence rule: never reveal your true wealth, your real feelings, or your family's secrets. In America, it's about transformation. Make your own name, their parents say. But don't forget who built the ladder you're standing on. Plot twist: not all heirs want the money. Some, like the heirs to the Patagonia brand, reportedly chose to give it all away for environmental causes. Others, like the young Murdochs or Getty descendants, turned away from the family business to create films, art, and social ventures. It's not rebellion. It's reinvention. Because this generation grew up in a new kind of spotlight, one that never turns off. Every photo, every post, every decision can ripple across headlines. That's why the new heirs are learning something their ancestors never had to: how to be public and private at the same time. They live in a paradox. Luxury so vast it's invisible, power so quiet it feels ordinary, and responsibility so heavy it can't be seen. Now here's where things get really interesting. You've heard of private schools, but there's another level few people even know exists. It's where the children of billionaires quietly learn how to manage dynasties. They don't call it school. They call it preparation. Imagine arriving at a secluded campus in Switzerland or the south of France. No signs, no media, just a collection of marble halls and quiet luxury. Inside, the classrooms don't teach algebra. They teach legacy. A teacher might ask, if your family company loses $2 billion overnight, what's your first move? Another lesson: how to shake hands with a head of state without saying too much. These aren't rumors. They're based on real places, like the Institut Le Rosey in Switzerland, often called the School of Kings. Alumni include the Rothschilds, monarchs, and luxury heirs. Tuition? Reportedly over $150,000 a year. But the real lessons aren't on the syllabus. They happen between the lines: how to read a room, how to stay silent when cameras roll, how to smile without giving away your thoughts. Plot twist: this training doesn't stop after graduation. When you're born into billions, education never really ends. Behind the scenes, most wealthy families operate something called a family office. It's like a private government: accountants, lawyers, advisors, and strategists who handle everything from investments to philanthropy. But for next-gen heirs, these offices become classrooms. You shadow the CEO of your own empire. You attend meetings about global markets before you can legally rent a car. And yes, there are actual programs where heirs train together anonymously. According to reports, next-gen wealth workshops exist in places like London and New York, designed to teach the children of ultra-rich families how to handle inherited power, responsibly and quietly. Here's a secret most people don't realize. Money doesn't just protect you, it isolates you. So while you're learning how to manage billions, you're also learning how to trust who's real, who's after your last name, who's loyal when the spotlight fades. It's a strange kind of loneliness, because in your world, mistakes don't just cost you, they cost generations. And here's something even wilder. Some heirs are now rejecting the old, control everything mentality. Instead, they're being trained to collaborate, to build startups, or even to fund social impact projects. It's the birth of what insiders call the Legacy 2.0 mindset, where heirs no longer just protect wealth, they reinvent it. One instructor reportedly tells young billionaires, "Your parents built empires. Your job is to give them meaning." You can feel that pressure to live up to greatness while trying to stay human. And yet, behind every quiet smile at a gala, behind every polished social media photo, there's that silent question echoing in their heads. Who am I if I wasn't born into this? I'll explain why that question changes everything in a moment. But if you think training for power is intense, wait until you see how they live once they're finally allowed to take control. Because the next part is where reality meets fantasy. Imagine stepping into your home, and it isn't just a house. It's a private kingdom. You don't just walk in. Security scans, codes, and invisible barriers are everywhere. Your furniture isn't picked from a catalog. It's curated by designers who work only for families like yours. Even the art on the walls is chosen to reflect both taste and discretion. This is your reality if you're born into billions. But here's something most people don't see. It's not all glamour. Your world is regimented. Every hour has a purpose. Morning might start with strategy calls for family investments. Afternoon could be filled with philanthropy planning, deciding which causes deserve millions. Evenings? Private dinners where alliances are subtly tested, often without anyone knowing. Plot twist, not all of this is public. Many next-gen heirs live in estates hidden behind miles of private land, sometimes with tunnels, safe rooms, and elaborate staff networks. Sources suggest some American heirs rarely step outside their compounds without security. In Europe, centuries-old family castles operate under similar secrecy. Courtyards and ballrooms may host charity galas, but the real lessons happen behind closed doors. You might think this life is isolated, and it is, but it's also hyper-connected. A single family office email could control investments spanning multiple continents. A casual decision in New York could ripple to stock markets in Tokyo, while a family meeting in London might influence philanthropy in Africa. Contrast this with your average life. Most people decide which coffee to buy. You decide how billions move, and the pressure is constant. You're expected to appear normal. Social media profiles are curated carefully. One misstep could attract press speculation. Yet, unlike celebrities, heirs aren't famous for their personalities. They're known for their names. Now here's the insider twist. Not every heir wants to follow the script. Take the so-called Silicon Valley successors. Some reportedly rebel by starting ventures in space exploration, clean energy, or digital media, trying to define themselves beyond inherited wealth. Or the European luxury heirs, who quietly fund underground art collectives or ecological foundations. In many ways, these next-gen billionaires are rewriting the rules. They want influence, but not just wealth. They crave impact. And that desire shapes a lifestyle that looks normal from the outside but is entirely engineered inside. But even in this world of influence, there are cracks. Wealth cannot shield you from loneliness, scrutiny, or personal struggle. Some heirs reportedly struggle with mental health, identity, or direction, despite every resource at their disposal. Imagine the paradox. Endless freedom, yet every choice is watched, every mistake magnified. Here's another surprise. The richest heirs often live under subtle contracts of behavior. Family councils, mentors, and boards may guide personal decisions, even romance and friendships, to protect wealth continuity. And yet, this structure is what allows them to thrive. Teaches resilience. It teaches diplomacy. Teaches patience. You realize something essential here. Being born into billions isn't just about what you have. It's about how you navigate what you inherit: money, influence, reputation, and expectations. And this brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. Because behind the gates, behind the boardrooms, behind the polished smiles, lies a hidden economy of power, influence, and responsibility that even most billionaires never see fully. The next part, the climax revelation, will show you exactly how this system works, and why the choices of these next-gen heirs could reshape industries, culture, and even global policy. You might think your world ends at private jets, art collections, or luxury yachts. But the truth? Your influence stretches far beyond the gates. Every decision you make, every startup you fund, every foundation you launch, every boardroom you enter, ripples across industries and continents. Take technology. Many Silicon Valley successors reportedly inherit venture portfolios worth billions. Your choices determine which companies survive and which fail. You could fund the next AI breakthrough or clean energy revolution, or let it pass unnoticed. Now imagine this: Europe's luxury heirs. You inherit companies that dictate fashion trends for millions. But it's more than clothing. The brands you control set global standards for marketing, sustainability, and cultural influence. A single decision: which designer gets the spotlight, which factory gets funding, shapes economies and even environmental practices. Plot twist: influence isn't always visible. Some heirs quietly fund NGOs, scholarships, and think tanks. Sources suggest many next-gen billionaires funnel wealth into projects that never hit headlines. You could be steering climate research, global health initiatives, or education reform, and nobody outside your circle would know. And then there's the social dimension. As a next-gen heir, you inherit social networks worth billions. Friends of your parents, international leaders, celebrities, they all watch your moves. One dinner, one casual comment, one investment choice. It can start trends, build alliances, or spark media speculation. It's a subtle form of power. Quiet, invisible, yet far-reaching. Here's the real kicker. Not all heirs play it safe. Some take calculated risks, launching experimental startups, influencing public policy, or funding revolutionary art. Their parents' wealth is the safety net. Their freedom is the leverage. And in doing so, they're reshaping not just companies but societies. Now contrast this with your daily life. Most people influence a small circle. Friends, colleagues, maybe a local community. Your decisions can alter industries and impact millions of lives without stepping onto a stage. But this power comes with pressure. Every move is scrutinized. Every choice has consequences: financial, social, and even ethical. You learn to balance ambition with responsibility, innovation with tradition, public image with private integrity. Here's a striking example. Reportedly, some heirs of tech giants invested early in renewable energy projects that are now worth billions. At the same time, some European heirs quietly funded sustainable fashion initiatives, transforming entire supply chains. No headlines, no applause, just results. And that's the essence of the next-gen billionaire mindset: silent influence, invisible action, quiet revolution. So what does all this mean for us today? It means the future isn't just shaped by governments, corporations, or celebrities. It's also shaped by heirs who are learning, testing, and quietly controlling systems, often before the public even knows they exist. In Part 5, we'll explore the implications of this power, why it matters to you, and what lessons you can take from their world. You might be thinking, this world is too far from my own. But here's the truth. The lessons of next-gen heirs matter to you more than you realize. Because influence, risk, and legacy aren't limited to billionaires. They're universal. Take influence. You see how heirs quietly shape industries and culture. You can apply the same principle on your scale. In your career, your community, even online. Small, consistent actions, decisions, connections, ideas can ripple outward. Then there's risk. Billionaires inherit safety nets, but they still take calculated leaps. Funding unknown startups, investing in unconventional ideas, or stepping away from family expectations. You don't need billions to practice smart risk-taking. It's about understanding your resources, planning carefully, and acting boldly when it matters. And legacy, the invisible pressure every heir feels. Your actions today leave an imprint on tomorrow, whether you're a billionaire or not. The way you treat people, invest in yourself, or nurture skills shapes the world you leave behind. Plot twist. Here's the biggest takeaway. Next-gen heirs don't just inherit wealth. They inherit responsibility, expectation, and influence. And they succeed not because they are rich, but because they learn to navigate complexity. They understand timing, psychology, and networks. They see connections most people miss. And most importantly, they understand patience. Imagine applying this mindset to your life. Your career becomes a strategic game, not just a job. Your relationships are investments in trust and influence. Your ambitions align with purpose, not just outcomes. Some heirs reportedly fail spectacularly. Not every decision lands perfectly, but the ones who thrive combine vision with discipline, and that's a skill anyone can develop. Even small actions compound. One thoughtful conversation, one calculated risk, one consistent habit, over time, it can build an influence that feels invisible, but is unmistakably powerful. And that's exactly what the next-gen billionaires teach us. It's not about showing off your wealth. It's about quietly shaping your world, taking responsibility, and leaving a legacy that matters. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. The most interesting heirs aren't just inheriting money. They're inheriting opportunity, the chance to redefine what success looks like. And the fascinating part? You have access to that same lesson. Your world may not be gilded, but your choices, smart, intentional, and courageous, can ripple farther than you think. Here's something most people never realize. Being born into billions doesn't automatically make life easier. It doesn't guarantee happiness, purpose, or freedom. You could have everything money can buy, private jets, art collections, global influence, and still feel trapped. But here's the secret that changes everything. The next-gen heirs who thrive aren't the ones who inherit wealth blindly. They're the ones who redefine what it means to inherit. They take responsibility. They create impact. They turn privilege into purpose. Some launch global initiatives in climate, technology, and social change. Some quietly fund art, education, or research that shapes culture for decades. And the pattern is clear. Real power lies in how you use what you inherit, not in the inheritance itself. Think about that. You don't need billions to embrace this lesson. Every opportunity you inherit, your skills, your network, your knowledge, can become a force for change if you approach it intentionally. The final twist. The lives of next-gen heirs show that privilege and pressure go hand in hand. With great wealth comes scrutiny, expectation, and the constant challenge of finding meaning. But it also offers a blueprint for influence, subtle, strategic, and often invisible. If this opens your eyes, remember one thing. Whether you're born into billions or just starting your journey, the principles are the same. Curiosity, courage, and purpose can create ripples far beyond what anyone sees. And now, as you've peeked behind the velvet ropes, you understand why these heirs live the way they do, and why their choices matter more than headlines reveal. The story doesn't end here. Every decision, every calculated risk, every intentional act shapes not just them, but the world you share. Let's recap what you've just seen. You've stepped behind the gates of private empires. You've witnessed how heirs are trained, how they navigate influence, and how they quietly shape the world. You've learned that wealth isn't just money. It's responsibility, expectation, and the opportunity to create impact. But more importantly, you've discovered lessons you can apply today. Influence matters at every level. Even small actions can ripple outward. Calculated risks create growth. You don't need billions to take smart, bold steps. Legacy is built intentionally. Your choices today leave an imprint on tomorrow. Privilege is what you make of it. Inherited or earned, it's about purpose. Now it's your turn. Ask yourself, how can you use what you have to create impact? What small decision today could ripple into something bigger tomorrow? If this story inspired you, Hit like and subscribe to explore more hidden worlds of wealth, influence, and innovation. Comment below. Which next-gen heirs approach impressed you the most? Would you follow tradition or blaze your own trail like the Silicon Valley successors? And for those who want to go deeper, watch our next video. The billionaire families shaping global culture. You'll never see them in media. It continues where this story leaves off, exploring secret philanthropy, business empires, and innovation hubs around the world. Remember, you may not be born into billions, but you can adopt the mindset.